Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Canna-Joe Morning Show live. Today is December 28th. Is that right? December 28th.
You are correct, sir.
I'm Michael Ford. Oh, no Jenny.
Dab and Dave.
Dab and Dave. Do the. I don't know if I got it. Yeah, see, Vari. Okay, Vari got it. I don't know. I just do it with. I just think I just gotta. You gotta do it with your hands, not your arms. Yeah, you gotta do it with your hands. There you go. Do it with your hands. If you do it with your arms, they start twisting around. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm Barry the man. Thank you guys for joining us.
Happy Monday, a Tuesday.
Tuesday. It is Tuesday, huh? Man, so Christmas break. How about that?
Yeah, it was great, right?
You know, got a house full of kids most days now, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, because kids are out of school now.
Yeah, they be out there. Finally, some snow, so they might go sledding finally. You know,
okay.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun time. We want to go out sledding, but we're gonna have to wait to get Ezra some warmer clothes. I don't know. He's weird. He's allergic to cold. Like he starts to get hives if he gets too cold. So you gotta like bundle him all the way up. It's crazy. It's weird. Yeah, that's strange. Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, no, Jeremiah was up yesterday morning at 5 o'clock talking about, can I play the game? Like, dude, what are you doing? Because they ain't got school, so he stays up. You're right. He was in bed this morning, last night, though, by like 7 o'clock. Woke back up at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what you got for us, Vari? Let's see here. Look at.
Sweet. All right. Well, billionaire investors bet big on magic mushrooms. Outside psychedelics went from fringe drug to mental health breakthrough. That's a pretty picture. So cannabis startups were just a gateway to companies producing psychedelics. Startups in the business of psychedelic substances, compounds, and treatments have sprouted up all over since the start of 2020. Not your grandma's magic mushrooms, psychedelic drugs earned a bad rap in the 1960s for their ties to bad trips and hippies. But a growing body of research and firsthand accounts suggests that psychedelics have tremendous promise in treating otherwise treatment-resistant mental illnesses, including PTSD, anxiety, depression, even opioid addiction. Oregon became the first U.S. state to legalize magic mushrooms in 2020, joining the ranks with cities of Denver and Oakland, which decriminalized psilocybin back in 2019. Meanwhile, a $4 million federal grant was issued this fall to fund psilocybin research at Johns Hopkins Medicine. It's the first grant of its kind in over 50 years. That's a lot of years. The future of fantastic fungi. The psychedelic market is expected to grow to $10.75 billion by 2027, according to one report. To put in perspective, the global legal weed market is expected to hit $70.6 billion by 2028. Investors are already making moves. The world's first psychedelic ETF made its stock market debut back in January. Billionaire Peter Thiel backed the psychedelic startup ATI Life Sciences, which hit a $2.3 billion valuation in June in its IPO. Kevin O'Leary, the dude from Shark Tank, put his money behind Mind Medicine, a drug developer exploring the medical properties of LSD. And then cue to reality check. Keep in mind, psychedelics remain illegal in much of the US, and startups will need to navigate red tape from the FDA and DEA. There's also an ongoing patent war brewing, and activists are shelling out cash to keep psychedelics in the public domain, which could cut into startups' profits. Bottom line, the magic mushroom market is creating a ton of buzz from Main Street to Wall Street, but psychedelic startups have a ways to go before gaining mainstream acceptance.
Sounds like marijuana when it first started.
Yeah.
Well, started becoming legal.
Well, and then
still having issues with and they're still having issues with getting businesses started. Well, not started, but keeping them running with credits and banks and stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so apparently marijuana is a gateway to legalize other things.
Other drugs.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think alcohol was a gateway to legalize marijuana. Is that right?
I think it should.
And marijuana to legalize mushrooms. I think that's how it goes. And you use mushrooms to legalize what comes after mushrooms.
MDMA and
there you go.
DMT. Yeah.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. One at a time. But I don't know. I like the research part of it. I think it's important. Right. All right. I do have another one here. Marijuana is on the minds of young conservatives at Turning Point USA's America Fest. I know that was even a thing. All right. It's day 2 of Charlie Kirk's America Fest, and freedom is in the air. At the gathering aimed primarily at Gen Z and millennial conservatives, the theme is threaded throughout the event, and it can be seen everywhere. Never has the American flag been donned in so many iterations. The red, white, and blue motif graces blazers, cowboy hats, and heels, as well as the photo backdrops and stage lighting. Freedom is implicit message of Sunday's opening worship led by Sean Fitched, a Christian musician and former worship leader at Bethel Church in Redding, California. Fitch hosted a mass religious gathering in downtown Nashville on October 2020 to Chagrin of city health officials. Thousands of young adults and students piled in as early as 7:30 a.m. to hear his tunes. An hour or so later, Donald Trump Jr. takes the stage and reminds the young MAGA fans that what they are nominally here for. You guys are the front line of freedom. Fight for your country because it's worth it, he urges. Between laughing at the military for promoting transgender pilots and calling Let's Go Brandon the biggest cultural phenomenon of the last 50 years. He calls Democrats hypocrites. If I was doing crack, you probably wouldn't give me a pass, he says, alluding to Hunter Biden. A familiar hereby floral scent wafts towards me, and I avert my gaze from Trump's Jr. dogged comedy show. The guy in the next seat asks if I'd like to hit from his vape pen. THC, I ask? He nods mischievously. It's a surprise, but it's not all that surprising. The young people here display traditional values with the penchant for partying, and like many young conservatives, their views on cannabis legalization and drug decriminalization are complicated. 18 states, 2 territories, and the District of Columbia currently allow recreational use, while 36 states and 4 territories allow medical use, according to Pew Research Center. 63% of Republicans aged 18 to 29 believe that marijuana should be legal for recreational and medical use. But as age increases, that number decreases. 53% of those ages 30 to 49, 48% of those ages 50 to 64, and just 27% of Republicans 65 and up favor making marijuana legal recreationally and medically. Oregon decriminalization, non-commercial amounts of illegal drugs like cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine through Measure 110, which went into effect on February 1st. The jury is still out on consequences for a state that didn't have the robust recovery system in place to prepare for decriminalization. Marijuana should be legalized, says Taylor Pemberton, a 27-year-old donning a khaki cowboy getup. The war on drugs is a losing war. I don't partake recreationally, but as long as it's used in moderation and not abused, it's fine, says the Grand Canyon University student. I've never heard of anyone overdosing on marijuana, but I have heard of people overdosing on meth and heroin. But I don't think throwing people in jail helps. The only thing that should be criminalized is the intent to distribute. At America Fest, more on views on marijuana are mixed, but questions about harder drugs gleaned a more hesitant approach. Ishmael Sharif, a 20-year-old from Chicago, doesn't stand by recreational legalization of marijuana. Marijuana legalization is a gimmick in Illinois to extract more revenue from communities. I don't think the state believes in it, and I don't believe in it, he says. They're just doing it to make money off people. Sharif said that he could get behind medical legalization, but advised against the decriminalization of hard drugs. Illinois residents could buy recreational marijuana starting on January 1st, 2020. The state collected $205 million in tax revenue from its sales last year, according to Marijuana Moment, and $31 million of that went to nonprofits. The attitude here reflects a broad public re-imaging of how to deal with drugs and the people who use them, a shift that politicians are slowly catching up with. In June, Democrats initiated a bill to end President Nixon's famous War on Drug declaration 50 years prior. The Drug Policy Reform Act, introduced by Reps Carl Bush and Bonnie Watson Coleman, would decriminalize personal use of possession of all drugs, expunge current records, and allow for resentencing and invest in health-centered responses to drug addiction. Rep. Nancy Mace introduced the States Reform Act in November, which would decriminalize cannabis at the federal level, delisting it as a Schedule I drug under Drug Enforcement Agency rules. The bill would also allow for expungement of federal convictions in nonviolent cases and lay the groundwork for federal regulation and enforcement in states that allow marijuana sales. As I talk about drugs with TPUSA attendees, for many of them, it comes back to freedom, or at least to the absence of government. The less government, the better when it comes to marijuana legalization. It has clearly shown the promise for pain relief, says Senza de Vera, a 31-year-old children's book publisher from Michigan. But harder drugs are a different story and have the potential to wreck a society. Those need to be regulated. And there you go.
Nice.
Wow.
So conservatives support legalization.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that what the article's saying?
Yep.
So?
Young conservatives, over 50% between the ages of 18 and 40.
But the thing is we already know that. So it's surprising that the Republican side hasn't taken a firmer stance. But we're seeing more of that happening, especially in Minnesota. We're seeing more Republicans taking a stance. And then at the federal level, there was a Republican, I guess would be conservative, bill introduced to legalize marijuana as well. So it's not an issue that's party related. It's not a political party that needs to legalization. It's legalized. It's actually the people in those parties, regardless of what they are. So yeah, I guess there's more people kind of listening to what society is saying. Anyways, thanks for that article, Vari. Shout out to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere,
Twitter.
right, whether or not. Shout out to the Facebook user. Shout out to Vaughn. I heard you was on this morning, and everybody else that's on viewing us. I can't see you guys in the metaverse. We got to figure that piece out.
A live audience in the metaverse?
Can you see me now? Can you see me now? What'd you say, Dave?
A live audience in the metaverse?
A live audience in the metaverse, man. The first ever cannabis vlog podcast metaverse
with an
broadcast. Is there? I don't know if there's another one. Maybe there's no. We're the first. There's not another one. When they come around, they did it after us anyway. Yeah, so we do got an event coming up this Friday. So if you are coming out to the final 420, bang! Yeah, come out and check us out. It's going to be a good time. The crew will be in the building. We may do a little metaverse in there. Are we doing metaverse in there or no metaverse in there? I don't know. Who knows? But it's going to be a good time. If you don't have information for the event, join the Minnesota marijuana community. You can ask any of us to add you. If you're not friends with us, add one of us. Otherwise, you can go to minmarijuana.com to get details on the event. The address location is going to be disclosed. So don't tell anybody. No, I'm fucking with you. Yeah, but we're going to disclose that to the people that are in the event. So It's going to be adult time. Anyways, do we got anything else? I think that's the only event we got coming up till after the first of the year. After the first of the year, we got some exciting things coming at you guys. I'm working on something with Vari as well. We got Facebook community subgroups coming out. You know, we got a fundraiser going on for Dave, Leisha, and Jenny, so we can get our Oculus sets to them, so we can get them into the metaverse. Yeah, expect to see more from us in the metaverse thing. Man, I'm wondering when our first politician is going to come. Has any politicians been in the metaverse yet?
Wow.
No, I don't know. I don't know. That's we would have to Google that.
Yeah, we'll be the first. Yeah. Hey, you got to think, man. This is
first,
you know,
you're last, says Ricky
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah, all of that good stuff. Anyway, back to you, Dave, with the weather. Weather or not? You got the weather?
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, I got the weather. Thank you,
looks
Michael.
like it's
So
a
as
little
usual,
breezy outside. They're still smoking over there, though.
Hey, who's doing the weather here?
Oh, yeah.
We do need to. We should put in a request to Zuckerberg's team and say, look, we need a podcast studio with an audience. So that
Dave,
we
I think
could-
you shared yourself. Yep.
But then then he has to switch over to it.
Are you sure?
And then there could be like seating here.
Yeah.
Like how
Well, we
cool
can if we change the layout in here. We could do a concert, man. That'd be dope. We just change the seating and do a concert. Anyway, what you got, Dave?
All right, I'll just wait
Oh,
for the
umbrellas.
screen to come up.
Here we go.
There we go.
fellas.
So, it looks nice. Okay, so today we're looking at a high of, for most of Minnesota, we're going to see highs in the 20s. It's a few, low 20s. Lows are going to be in the single digits. And looking at wind 5 to 10, and it's pretty much going to be cloudy all day. And there is a little snow going through. It looks to be about maybe 1 to 2. The system isn't going to be very big. It's just it's air's too dry. It's just wringing this moisture out. So most of us in the outskirts of Minnesota are going to be looking at a trace anywhere from Mankato to St. Paul, maybe up to Pine City. You might see 1 to 2, and then as the system moves out later tonight, it may linger up north, but the dew points up north are going to be so dry it's really not going to drop anymore. So the big story is tomorrow morning. When you guys wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be a little chilly. We're going to see a drastic temperature drop. So we're looking at out the door temperatures at 6 a.m. There's going to be a few places up north around Fergus Falls area that could be looking at minus 20 air temperature. And everywhere else, it's gonna be hard pressed to find anything much above 0. Even Mankato is looking at 1. Fortunately, the winds will be light from 5 to 10, but the problem being that when you're talking about those kind of temperatures, those feel like temperatures up north will go from minus 20 to minus 32 real quick. So you're going to want to be a little careful tomorrow morning. Make sure the extremities are covered up, because we're getting to that point now where 15, 20 minutes exposed skin will start to frostbite, and trust me, you don't want that. As the day goes on, the temperature will increase. By 4 p.m. we're going to see in a lot of places, especially up north, potentially a 20-degree swing in just a few hours. And then as we go overnight, they will drop back down again, but Thursday looks much better. Thursday is going to be a pretty much sunny, mostly cloudy. Okay, Thursday's mostly cloudy. It's tomorrow where it's going to be more of a what they call picture window day. There will be some clearing tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, but like I said, those temperatures are going to be so cold. And then Thursday, the clouds come back in with highs back in the 20 and lows again in the single digits. But I did want to let you guys know that Sunday morning, you might want to stay inside. We're going to be looking at some of these temperatures Sunday, and we'll take a closer look at this as we get closer to the weekend. But there's some serious cold weather coming through on Sunday. Sunday morning could be, 30, 40 below wind chills are not out of the question. Most of the entire state is going to be below zero. And that's basically going to be setting up a trend after that where we're going to be pretty much locked into single digits. It's just going to be cold for a while, but definitely careful on the roads today, especially during the commute home. It may get a little slick out there, and especially tomorrow morning where we will see some really hard freezing temperatures, and that's definitely going to create some icy spots on the bridge decks, overpasses, entrance and on ramps, any side roads. Be very careful, take some extra time, slow down. You don't want to end up in the ditch. So back to you, Michael.
Back to me. Shout out to John, the intern. So if you have an Oculus Quest 2 or Gear VR, I think any of that stuff, if you want to be a guest on our show, man, shoot us a message, man. It would be dope to have some extra guests join us. So maybe next week or so, as we kind of figure this out, I think we're kind of getting it down. Are we getting it down?
We are.
It's taking originally it took us about 30 minutes.
Log in and stuff.
Right. So originally it took us about 30 minutes to get all the stuff set up. Now we're down to about 5 minutes. So once we get everything set up, man, it'd be dope to have some guests from the show if you are in the Quest universe. What else? Some legislators, man. This is going to be some dope stuff, man. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Vari, words of wisdom?
Oh, yeah. Words of wisdom. What do people say that are wise? The way I see it, if you want a rainbow, you got to put up with the rain.
Sometimes you got to make your own sunshine.
Yeah. Although, there's beauty in rain, just like there's sometimes beauty in pain. So
all of the above. All of the above. Shout out to Jenny, the producer. No. Shout out to Jenny. She didn't make it on today. Hopefully she's not under the weather, but feeling better. Anyway, yeah, so we're out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Tomorrow.